We're here after week 1 of practice. This is Todd Cunningham with Tim Adams here at BearcatLayer.com. Tim, the first week, the theme would be heat, on and off.
It's been brutally hot out here. I don't know how these guys are holding up. I just talked to a guy, Sean Huey, 300 pounds. He's having to take reps with the number 1 offense and the number 2 offense, and I don't know how he's doing, but he's holding up pretty well.
It's amazing that we're here in practice number 6, and there really hasn't been too many heat fatalities, or not fatalities, but guys missing practice due to the heat.
Haven't been a lot. We've seen a little bit of it. Giordano apparently had some cramps and has been sort of slowed the last day or two, but for the most part, I mean, Dave Lawson's done a great job with these guys. They're in shape, and they won't face anything more difficult than what they're facing right now as far as weather related, that's for sure.
Now, the other big question coming into this camp was the right tackle position. Kind of talk to us what you've seen so far.
Well, they're looking. You know, C.J. Cobb is still out there. He kind of starts off the offense taking the right tackle spot, but I don't think he's 100%. He's taking very few reps when there's any kind of live action going on. So we see Sean Huey over there mostly a little bit lately, and then also Alex Hoffman steps out and goes to right tackle. So right now, you got Cobb, you got Huey, and you got Hoffman. Of course, Hoffman's a starting right guard, so if he moves out, then it opens up that right guard spot. So we're seeing Curtin in there, we're seeing Randy Martinez in there some, and we're seeing Austin Bujnak on the left side spelling Kelsey. You know, Sam's been the one guy that's been pretty much a mainstay at left tackle, and then Evan Davis pretty much as center, and we've seen T.J. Franklin as sort of his backup. But T.J. certainly isn't ready, I don't think, with the snap alone ready to push Davis.
Now, early in the camp, the defense seemed to get the best of the offense. Today, Zach Cleric looked pretty sharp.
You know, he's just money. That guy, that ought to be his nickname, he's just money. He goes out there and just makes plays, and he's a great leader. He lives with a bunch of offensive linemen. I think Wolf finagled his way in that group too. But he's just a great player. You can see why he won so many games in high school, just the way he handles himself on and off the field. Just a fine guy to lead your team, and he's going to be a dual threat player. Just you hope you can keep him healthy, because you know he's going to run the ball, and you know he's going to lower his head sometimes when he runs the ball.
Now on the defensive side, some of these guys, this is their 3rd defense in 3 years. Kind of talk about what you've seen so far this week.
Well, so far what I've seen this week is not a lot of 3-4, which we're all saying thank God.
Yes.
And
they were a lot more aggressive, I think, too.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, you got guys like Walt Stewart. I think you want to kind of cut him loose. But I think both of the starting inside tackles, and Hughes and Wolf, have been terrific in there. We're seeing a little bit of Monte Taylor starting to emerge, but he's kind of been a one-trick pony. He's going to try to beat you on the outside, use his speed a lot. But if he can continue to develop, it gives him another great defensive end there. And you know, you got guys like Hilty and McClellan that have been pretty solid as backups, and you got Steph, and you got Ronnie Lozano that's also starting to show that they're back and healthy. So I think there may be a little more depth than what we really think as we continue to move on through camp.
Depth on the defensive line is one thing. Depth at the linebacker position is another. You got J.K. Schaefer. You got Walt Stewart, who's been mainly on the outside. And you got Malik Bowmore after that, if anybody's guess.
Yeah, you know, Tentman has really surprised me.
He's going to have to play this year. Coach even said that yesterday, that he's one of the freshmen who's going to have to play.
And I saw him play a couple of times at Roger Bacon. He played, you know, a stand-up defensive end. He stayed home all the time. And you kind of wonder, why was he such a great athlete? Because you see him on that. I thought he didn't have a nose for the football. I thought, well, they've got him there for a reason, because he doesn't have a nose for the football, but he does.
Yep.
He's been able to rush the passer, and he's surely one of the number 2 inside guys right now. And you got Thompson, who I like. I mean, if you want to stop the run, which we didn't do very well last year.
He's very stout.
Yeah, he is. And he'll hit you.
Yep.
And so I kind of like him on the inside. Beyond that, since Robert Martin isn't here for the last few days, he's not, you know, taking reps where he was in with that number 2 group. Then it gets a little scary when you get past those guys. We're not sure what we have beyond that. Well, I haven't seen a lot anyway as far as beyond that.
Now, we've covered the defensive line, the linebackers, the defensive back seems to be one of the strengths of this group with the depth that they have, and they're not afraid to get physical, as we saw today.
They're spunky. They're not big, but spunky.
Yes.
You know, Reuben Johnson was out today. I think he had a cut on his forehead or something.
Yeah, it happened in practice yesterday.
Yeah. Adrian Whitty has been a nice surprise, fast. And, you know, he is the spunky guy. He's probably the smallest guy weight-wise, but he's got great speed. You got Cam Cheatham, who does a great job out there, too. And he's not real big. He's a little stouter, but not big. And he's got a little mean streak in him as well. Dominic Battle's been out. So they've they've really had to develop their depth just from that look. And you know, another young guy I like is Devin Drain.
Yeah.
I think he looks pretty good for.
He's come along. Today he looked really comfortable out there. The first couple of days he didn't, but today his hips are a lot better. And
Yeah. He's a guy that I'm starting to notice a little more and more. And when your dad played in the NFL, you know there's some genes working for you there a little bit too.
With this group, practice-wise, it seems like they spend an enormous amount of time on the punt game. Kind of today, Patrick O'Donnell boomed a couple. I think he's going to be a nice weapon for this group.
I totally agree, Todd. And you know what we're seeing right now is we don't see Jake taking any more punts.
No,
Jake
he's not even with them.
No, he's exclusively kicking off, and I just talked to him a little bit ago. He's very comfortable with that, and he basically said, you know, Patrick's got a big leg. You know, I saw Huber through his 4 years, and Huber redshirted, and then it wasn't until really his junior year that he took off.
End of his junior year, really.
Yeah. Well, his redshirt, his 4th year, and then he started getting that. And Patrick's having to do it all in 2. You know, he played some last year before he got hurt, but he's got a big time NFL type leg. And then you've got John Lloyd, the walk on, who's behind him, and you got Danny Milligan, who's also punting some. And Danny didn't kick the ball badly today either. So I think they have some depth at that punting position. But O'Donnell's a guy that you could see following Huber's footsteps, and it could be playing on Sundays in a few years from now.
Closing up, Tim, you know, I always like to get your take on who's been the surprise so far.
Tentman.
Tentman
would be, I guess, my pick if I've got to come right off the top of my head. I knew he had the physique, and he's a great kid. I just wasn't sure he's a linebacker because I didn't see him play linebacker. And I'm trying to think, how in the world would Roger Bacon not have this kid in the middle of the field when they were as bad as they were? So, but Tentman is showing that he's picking up the defense, and I think defensively he's been probably the biggest surprise. And I'll just say one other guy that just really started to surprise me is George Wynn a little bit. I thought a real good practice out of him yesterday. I didn't notice him much today, but up till now I really hadn't seen anything out of George Wynn. But he made a nice run yesterday. I thought he blocked well when I watched him block, and that's a concern. The running backs as a group, I don't think have done a very good job blocking.
All right, this is Todd Cunningham and Tim Adams with BearcatLair.com. And our cameraman, Ryan Pence. Week 1 is in the books. They got one practice tonight, but we won't be here. Check back BearcatLair.com for all your details. Thanks.